Okay, let's talk about a world with an insane amount of pressure. Elite sports. We're talking about a world where the tiny, tiny difference between getting that gold medal and going home with nothing is literally a fraction of a second. The stakes are just astronomical. We're talking scholarships, multi-million-dollar contracts, the whole shebang. So you gotta wonder, how tempting is it to find a shortcut?
So our mission today is a deep dive into performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs.
Right, what the source material calls more broadly ergogenic aids.
And we really need to unpack the science here, the pretty jaw-dropping health risks, and this high-stakes cat-and-mouse game between athletes and regulators.
There is an epidemic of performance-enhancing drugs.
Because we're still only catching 2%.
Makes them bigger, stronger, faster.
Five-time Grand Slam tennis champ admitted that she tested positive for meldonium.
Today, the World Anti-Doping Agency suspended Russia's sports drug testing lab.
Is sort of a win-at-all-costs person.
One of the most elaborate doping ploys in sport history.
They acknowledge that some athletes will always look for a chemical edge.
For those who dedicate their lives to sporting excellence, there's no greater prize than winning.
Why would I watch an event that's fixed?
Always going to be a war of escalation between the cheats and the people who want to detect them.
The drug erythropoietin, part of Lance Armstrong's doping regimen.
So what are these drugs? What are they doing to our athletes? And are they causing more harm than good?
Of the hormone EPO, blood transfusions, or taking human growth hormone and anabolic steroids.
We've got to get better at testing for these drugs.
As long as they know what the testing procedure is, they'll always be able to beat it.
Performance-enhancing drugs actually are real medicines, and they're legal if a doctor prescribes them, but they're not legal if a doctor doesn't prescribe them. And then in addition, governing boards of various sports have told athletes, you cannot use these. It is illegal in our sport for you to use these.
Anabolic androgenic steroids have legitimate medical uses for treating hormone deficiencies, growth disorders, or diseases like cancer and AIDS. But for athletes, there's pressure to always get harder, better, faster, stronger. They also have some very serious drawbacks.
WADA is the prohibited list. It is an international standard identifying substances and methods prohibited in sport both in and out of competition. It is published annually by WADA and is available on the WADA and as an app on the App Store. Some substances are only banned in competition, match day testing, and others are banned for both out of competition and in competition testing. Recreational drugs are also included on the prohibited list.
Doping control is an essential part of anti-doping programs to promote and protect the integrity of sport and the health of athletes.
athletes who use performance-enhancing drugs cheat everyone. Their families and fans, fellow athletes, but most of all, themselves. After all, sport is really all about equality.
You know, let's just start with a story of pure regret. This quote right here from baseball legend Mark McGwire, it pretty much sets the stage for everything we're about to get into. It's the ultimate cautionary tale for any athlete who's chasing that greatness. The glory might seem endless, but man, the price you pay, it's so often permanent.
So, let's jump right into the deep end with a huge ethical question. And I want you to really think about this for a second. If you know other people are cheating and they're getting away with it, is it ever okay to use performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs, just to have a fair shot? Look, we're not here to give you the answer, but just keep that question marinating in the back of your mind as we go through this.
Now, the big fancy term for all this stuff is ergogenic aids. It's a super, super broad category. I mean, it could be anything from a special diet to training at high altitude. But that's not what we're here for today. No, we are focusing on the illegal stuff, the chemical shortcuts, the drugs. So when we talk about cheating the system pharmacologically, it pretty much boils down to these 6 major categories. You can think of them as cheat codes for the human body. We're going to break down every single one, what it does, why an athlete would risk it all, and the absolutely devastating price they almost always end up paying. All right, first up on the list, stimulants. This is your classic jolt, right? Athletes take these for a few key reasons. They want to be more alert, they want to completely crush that feeling of being tired, and they want a massive spike in competitiveness, even aggression. It's basically like flipping a switch for a fight-or-flight response right on demand. But oh, the trade-off is absolutely brutal. We're talking about jacking up your blood pressure, a heartbeat that can get dangerously irregular, serious anxiety, and tremors. And you add that extra aggression to a body you're pushing past its natural breaking point, yeah, you're just skyrocketing your risk of an injury that ends your entire career. It's a big yikes for sure. Okay, now let's do a complete 180 and look at something on the total opposite end of the spectrum, beta blockers. Just think of these as the OG chill pill of the performance world. Doctors use them to treat heart conditions because they slow your heart rate way, way down. So for an athlete, what does that mean? A slower heart rate means less shaking, less tremor. And that is a total game changer for precision sports like archery or fencing, where a rock-steady hand is literally everything. Up next are diuretics, also known as the Great Masker. And trust me, they've earned that name. These are basically drugs that make you, well, they make you pee a lot. And athletes use them in this kind of sneaky 2-part play. First, it's to drop a ton of water weight really fast, so they can make a lower weight class in sports like wrestling or boxing. And the second reason, they're trying to dilute their urine sample to hide other banned drugs they're taking. But here's the hilarious and kind of tragic catch. The great irony is that using them actually makes you a worse athlete when it's time to compete. All that fluid loss leads to terrible dehydration, painful muscle cramps, dizziness. You can't perform when you're cramping up and seeing stars. It really just shows you how desperate some athletes get. Okay, time to talk about the one everybody thinks of when they hear PEDs, anabolic steroids, the muscle myth. In simple terms, these are just synthetic, man-made versions of hormones, mostly testosterone, and they're designed to do one thing and do it really, really well: pack on muscle mass and increase bone growth. And this is where it gets genuinely scary. Get this number in your head. It's estimated that over 1 million young athletes are taking or have already taken anabolic steroids. We're talking about kids, chasing dreams, chasing scholarships, and they're gambling with their bodies while they're still developing. And this chart really breaks it down for us. We're looking at roughly 6.5% of young male athletes and almost 2% of young female athletes admitting to using them. That's a truly staggering number of kids putting their health on the line for what they think is a competitive edge. And the damage? Yeah, it's often permanent. For teenagers, it can literally stop you from growing taller by fusing your bones too early. For adult men, you're looking at baldness, that infamous roid rage. For women, we see hair loss, facial hair. And for everyone, the risk of liver tumors, cancer, heart disease, and blood clots goes through the roof. It is a terrifyingly high price for a temporary boost.
It's what the snow.
Make some noise, come on, drive it up, 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 boom, 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 yeah! Awesome job, give it up for Big Nick Winters. Oh yeah!
Now let's get into the stuff that's a lot harder to catch. Number 5 is human growth hormone, or HGH. It's so popular because it's kind of like a ghost in the machine. See, your body already makes it naturally, which makes it way harder for drug testers to tell the difference between what's natural and what's synthetic in a simple urine test.
So the promise of HGH is more muscle and less body fat. I mean, that sounds like the perfect cocktail for an athlete, right? But here's the real question, the real T. Is there actually any proof that pumping yourself with synthetic HGH makes a healthy athlete any stronger?
And the answer is kinda no. The science is pretty clear on this. There is very little to no proof that HGH actually increases real functional strength in healthy athletes. But the risks, oh, those are 100% real. It can cause this terrifying condition called acromegaly, where the bones in your hands, feet, and even your face become permanently deformed and enlarged. All of that for a boost that might not even be real. So our final cheat code is something called blood doping. Now, this one isn't really chemical. It's more mechanical. An athlete will literally have their own blood drawn, they'll store it, and then they'll re-inject it right before a big race or game. The result is this massive, totally artificial boost in red blood cells that carry oxygen, which means insane endurance. But it's a chaotic and dangerous process that can lead to kidney damage, crazy allergic reactions, and even circulatory shock. So, with all this cheating going on, the fight to catch the cheaters has become a full-on arms race. You know, testing started way back at the 1968 Olympics, and it has since evolved into this huge, global, high-tech operation run by organizations like the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency. It is a constant game of cat and mouse.
For 20 years, the UCLA Olympic Analytical Laboratory has been at the center of the fight against doping. It is one of the world's largest sports drug testing facilities, examining 45,000 urine specimens a year. They are sorted and studied with some of the strictest guidelines. Scientists must be meticulous and precise, and it's that attention to detail that extends far beyond this lab. In fact, it starts before the athlete even fills that cup. How that bottle gets filled might not surprise you, but the process just might shock you.
The second you cross the finish line, there is a person there with a vest on that comes up that says, drug testing or drug tester or whatever it might be. They come up, they notify you that you've been selected for drug testing.
You then sign a piece of paper, and that person is then with you until you are into the drug testing room.
You find another gentleman, say, hey, okay, I'm ready to pee. They take you into a room, you wash your hands with basically just water, no soap.
And that's where it gets a little gnarly, I guess.
I have to pull my pants and my underwear down to past my knees.
You have to pull your shirt all the way up to your armpits.
If you're wearing your swimsuit, it's got to go all the way down to your ankles, your arms have to go up, and you have to do a 360 in front of this person. Oh yeah, it's all hanging out.
Someone would crouch down and they would get to the level of where the urine would come out of you.
The drug test guy is standing right there and watching the whole thing.
He's watching you pee into a cup.
So they're literally this close to your face while you're trying to tinkle.
The first time I ever got drug tested, no one told me that they had to watch at the same time. So, I'm like standing there with this little cup in my hand, and this lady's just like standing there staring at me, and I'm like, okay, you can go now. And she's like, no, I have to watch. And I was like, wow, this is really awkward.
Awkward, but essential. The United States Anti-Doping Agency's up-close and personal approach is part of its mission to preserve the integrity of competition, and its policies extend beyond the playing field. Athletes must constantly inform the organization of their whereabouts.
We basically go online and we fill out a calendar. And on that calendar, we have to tell them where we're going to be every day so that they can, come in for an unannounced drug test.
We can knock at your door at any moment, so you need to fill out this sheet and you need to tell us where you're going to be, if you go on vacation, what hotel you're going to be at, a phone number you can be reached at, the hours you're going to be there.
Let's say you're going to go to the mall and you're going to be there for 5 hours. You send them, say, hey, I'm going to the mall for 5 hours. I won't be at my residence.
We don't want you to go anywhere without us knowing where you're at.
And while athletes know that an unannounced visit could be coming, that knock at the door is never at the right time.
They always somehow schedule it, especially now when I'm giving my son a bath or right when I started to get him down for nighttime.
And I was literally leaving the pool deck to get Sid to school on a Friday morning, and I'm like, I have to go. Like, and they're like, well, we're coming with you. I finally just said, could you help me get her ready for school? So I can try to give you a blood sample or urine sample. I need help getting my preschooler ready for school. And they were like, okay, yeah, it was great. So they literally fed her like the worst mom and braided her hair, and she looked really cute.
Timing is key in sports, even in testing.
I've just gotten out of the shower, just gotten done peeing, taking my morning pee, and I'm having my cup of coffee, and they show up, and I'm like, oh, guys, you missed me by 10 minutes.
I wake up every morning, and I usually am the first up. I look outside my window to see if there's any cars out there. That's the first thing I do. I don't go to the bathroom. I don't do anything like that. It's the first thing I do. If I see cars out there, I walk out to the car to see who it is, just in case. Because one time I didn't walk out, and I went to the bathroom, went pee, and then they knocked 2 minutes later. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
And while drug tests have become second nature to athletes, sometimes it can take forever.
After a hot tournament like the finals, you're pretty dehydrated. You could be there for a good 2 or 3 hours.
I just couldn't do it. And so finally the drug tester goes, do you have any beer? And I'm like, yeah, are you sure you should be drinking beer? Because you're gonna have to drive home. And she looks at me and she goes, no, for you to drink the beer so you can give a sample so we can all go home. So I'm like, sure. So drank the beer, about half an hour later, gave the sample, and there you go. I had a great night's sleep.
To help me pee, a lot of the drug test individuals would turn water on, and they said that the sound of running water would make someone pee, and it worked. But unfortunately now, nearly 16 years later, I still pee whenever I hear the sound of running water. It's not good.
What color do I do? Blue?
While four-time gold medalist Janet Evans may joke about the interruption of family time, the concept was an idea she pushed for. Evans sat on the Athletes Commission of the World Anti-Doping Agency.
We sat in those meetings and we're like, there's no other way around it. You have to do out-of-competition testing. And it's interesting being a bureaucrat, which I was, because we would be like, oh, this is great. Like, they can just knock on the door at any time, and they can just go on, the athletes can go online and log in, and they have their cell phones, and it all made sense to me, right? But now that I'm actually one of those athletes and living it, I'm like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? Like, this is awful. But, it's not that bad, and they're very respectful, and it is what it is. So I'm all for clean sport, and I'll give as many samples as they need. But, it's just a part of the process.
And while part of the process might be uncomfortable, the overall process is something athletes not only understand, but support.
We are probably some of the cleanest athletes in the world, and we'll put it on the line anytime, any place. I love it when drug testers come because it lets me know that they value me as an athlete, and they just want to make sure that their best people are 100% clean, and you can show that to the world.
I do think that it is an invasion of privacy when you're drug tested. Absolutely. That being said, you know what you're getting into when you sign up to be an Olympian.
It's kind of like going through, I guess you could say, the security line at the airports. It's a pain, it's intrusive, but at the same time, it's kind of what it is. It's what you need to do to maintain the integrity of the sport, or to make sure that we have, that we can fly safe.
That's just the life that we live as being an Olympic athlete, especially an elite Olympic athlete.
And if you want to know where the line is drawn in the sand, just look at the NCAA's penalty system. If you get popped for a PED, the consequences are absolutely brutal. First time, you lose a full year of eligibility. Second time, your college career is done. Finished. But for something like cannabinoids, aka marijuana, no loss of eligibility at all. This tells you everything you need to know. The NCAA sees PED use as the ultimate sin against the integrity of sport itself.
And the banned list is huge. It covers everything we've talked about: anabolic agents, diuretics, hormones, plus street drugs like heroin and marijuana.
Though there are some exceptions for stimulants if they're used therapeutically.
And the NCAA penalties really show the line regulators are drawing.
They do. It's a vivid illustration.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Back to Mark McGuire. I wish I'd never gotten involved. It was wrong. It was stupid. After everything we've just gone over, all the health risks, the permanent damage, that level of regret makes perfect and very tragic sense.
So what's the big takeaway from all of this? I think it's that the greatest win in sports isn't just holding up a trophy. It's knowing that you reached your absolute peak through your own clean effort. When you compete with integrity, the only limits you're fighting are your own, not the permanent ones you create for yourself with a needle or a pill.
And that's really the final thought we want to leave you with today. What does that kind of strength, that kind of integrity look like in your own life? Whether you're on a court, a field, or just living day to day. It's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.